Okay, so we're going to look at kind of making sure that our products are realistic in the sense that what we have ended up with from previous videos and these kind of ideas. Maybe this one is a good one to kind of use as an example. This is not the most realistic product, I think we can all agree. As far as a water dispenser goes, there's kind of loads of issues with manufacture. There's loads of problems with kind of space and how it's all laid out and maybe where components are going to sit. But hopefully the next few videos will make it a bit easier to understand how we can change things to maybe make it a bit more realistic. So what we might want to do is start by thinking about this water tank. Right now, this water tank could definitely be manufactured, but how does it actually sit in this part? What's it made out of? And potentially we want to look at something that is a bit more readily available, so some standardized components. So we can take this one and we're going to change it a little bit to show how it actually could work a bit better. So the first thing we might want to do is, the first thing we're always going to do is kind of start with our cuboid. Don't want it to be too long. Move the page around as you're doing this so it makes it a bit easier for you. Make sure your lines are vertical, like so. Make sure that these will all go and meet in the distance. Just going to flip that around, going this way. Okay, we're kind of all set up, ready to go. Now, the first thing that we're going to change is this back part, and we're going to potentially give it kind of like a cylindrical style. Okay, so I'm going to basically cut this back bit into a section. Okay, and what we've got here is basically a square that we can put our cross through for our major and minor axes. Previous videos, you can have a look at those to understand how it works a bit better. I'm going to do this very quickly. I'm not going to do it super accurate. I'm going to draw this down here just to kind of give us something to look at. And we're just going to chuck a circle on top. Then we can draw this down and we would technically have the same on the bottom part. So if we draw across like so, draw this bit down here, coming over. And then in here we've also got. Okay, and as this is just hashing it out, we're not too worried about specifics. But there's the first part of the change that we've made. Maybe the next part is we want to think about where the dispensing section is. So we're going to keep our shape, our original shape that we had, which is this kind of almost triangular section on the side here. We're going to do exactly the same. So this is going to be drawing up to our cylinder over here. So it's kind of got this curved section that it slots into, and then we can come down to the side to this base part here. So now what we've got is two different shapes sat next to each other. Now potentially we want to make sure that this sits into something. So rather than it just being a freestanding cylinder, maybe over here we've got, I don't know, like a base section, I suppose. So we could kind of draw this around like so, and then you might want to kind of, if you imagine you've got a big circular part on here, on top as we draw across, and come around here, got a bit of thickness, so that's going to come up here like this, goes around, and then what you've got is this kind of section that is almost hugging around our part, okay? And it would also taper in to here. Because of that angle, it's going to look a little bit strange, okay? But that's technically what's happening. So that's being held in place. We then might want to move our tap section onto this front face, okay? So it might be easier if you're going to, injection mold it, just to have a part that is going to be extracted in both directions. So what we could do is we could bring where our spout is going to be up here like this. And this can cut in. Maybe it's quite a deep section so we can see all the way back to there. And then you can place your cup on the inside here, and you've got your spout that sticks down just like that. And then maybe you want to add your buttons or your screen. So maybe you have a small screen on this front section. Touch screens are obviously very popular these days. So you can kind of show information on there. So in terms of like changing our shape, we've changed it quite a lot from this original design to here. All right, we've kind of brought in a standardized cylindrical tube that's quite easy to make compared to this oblong slash kind of odd shape, I suppose, which would be very hard to make and very hard to slot in. This one can be just taken out nice and easily and potentially clipped into the base. And from there, you can pretty much just build into it and show what's actually going to be happening with your design. So maybe you want to show that you've got a lid on here. So maybe you kind of, this is going to have like some sort of screw system. So you can build into that. You can obviously make this section a little bit darker to make it stand out. Draw around it. All the kind of usual presentation techniques that we've gone through in the past. Oops. Etc. Okay, so there's one way of kind of redesigning that, which could be quite good. Again, you can do all sorts of different things. Maybe you, I don't know, manipulate this and you completely change it in the sense that we keep this design, but maybe this whole section here, we are inspired by this and we cut this out to have the two cups, and then we have like a cylindrical or an oblong shape on the back that allows us to refill it rather than having this kind of slant. So it'd be more vertical at the back. I'll kind of show you what I mean rather than just waffling away. Just do that nice and quick. The danger with doing this is that you actually lose some of your kind of nice and funky design ideas. So what I meant by this was you'd still have your shape that sticks up. You'd have your cylindrical section over here. But this back part is maybe a little bit more rounded like this. Again, we'd keep our section that kind of like looks after this bit here. It's going to go round. Paper in. And then same sort of design here with this. Okay, but you're still, or now you're starting to just refine it to be a little bit more focused potentially. Okay, so two quick ideas from this idea that is maybe a little bit more realistic, easy to manufacture, as we'll see in later videos. So options, lots of different options again, thinking about how you can change this design for realism rather than just kind of cutting away and adding and subtracting like we did last time.